What's up, YouTube gamers? Young Soul dropping another video, and NPD numbers have just come out, as you can see on your screen right here. As the software sales also came out, the hardware Switch 1. I don't think that's much of a surprise. Second month out for a new console, and it looks like it's doing well, so that's cool for the people who like that. But the software numbers have also come out, and I find it interesting that a little talk is happening on the Xbox side, basically trying to claim that backwards compatibility is a big deal. You know why? Look at number 10, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The most requested backwards compatible game got to number 10. Holy cow. Let me tell you why I find these Xbox fanboys statements like that so funny. It's because the very same people are the ones saying that Japanese games are what they call Jap crap. Okay? Jap crap. Americans don't want Jap crap. Nobody cares about those games. What's so funny is, if you look, in order for them to get to number 10, they had to skim past a couple of Japanese games, specifically number 2 and number 3, but most importantly number 2. Persona 5, number 2. Let me tell you something. Anybody, you don't even have to play the game. Just look at 2 seconds of gameplay and you'll realize that, and I apologize for the pun ahead of time, but Persona 5 is the personification of a Japanese game. It is Japanese in every way that you think about a Japanese game. It pretty much scratches that itch. So it's not like, well, it's made by a Japanese developer, but it's more of a Western game. No. This is straight up Japanese, folks. Straight up Japanese. And to see that it's at number 10, and like I say, it's kind of funny that Xbox guys will go down to number 10, but Persona 5 sitting at number 2, and they had to pretty much like close their eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 10. You know what I mean? So I find that pretty funny. That's why I made the video the way I did. The title of the video the way I did. And it basically just goes to show that on Xbox, if you look at all the games, now there's a top 20, and I'm sorry, I got a link to the description and link in the description. You know how I'm gonna do, but I couldn't show you the top 20, but if you look at it, it's basically, you can understand Call of Duty Black Ops 2 to a certain extent because two reasons. Number one, Black Ops 2 was the most requested backwards compatibility game, I think, of all time, as far as on the Xbox One or whatever. But also, if you look at all these games, all of the games, especially ahead of Black Ops 2, but I believe even behind it, but at least ahead of it, the top 9 were either available on Xbox One for months and months and months and months and months, i.e., you know, Wildlands was available for what, 2 months, 3 months or whatever. Grand Theft Auto 5 has been available on Xbox One forever. Mass Effect, again, for 2 to 3 months. NBA 2K17 for months and months and months. Overwatch for months and months and months. My point is, there was nothing new on Xbox One to purchase in April. Nothing new, except for Black Ops 2. That was it. You know what I mean? And whereas Persona 5 was available in April, and look at what it ended up doing. My point is, gamers would rather have new games, even new Japanese games, which, again, the very people who are bragging about Black Ops 2 claim that Japanese games don't matter in the US. Even Japanese games, they'd rather have new Japanese games. This one just happens to be one of the cream of the crop that Xbox fanboys pretended didn't matter. But yeah, they'd rather have even new Japanese games than backwards compatible games. Why? Because you buy these consoles to play newer games. You don't buy them to play games that your old console you already own could play. Now, is it a nice cherry on top? Sure. Now let me get into, I'm going to take the last couple minutes to get into a backwards compatible rant real quick. Not a rant like mad rant, but like breaking this down rant, okay? Backwards compatibility, as nice as it may be on Xbox One, is a diminishing asset. It is an asset, but it's a diminishing asset. What do I mean by diminishing asset? Basically, every time new games, a crop of new 8th gen games come out, backwards compatibility becomes less important. It doesn't become unimportant, it just becomes less important. Why? Because again, you have 8th generation consoles to play 8th generation games. So the more 8th generation games come out throughout the whole generation, the more those should be taking your focus. Backwards compatibility, in my opinion, is more important at the beginning of a generation when there are very limited number of new games that you could only get on the new hardware you just bought. So in that case, when there are more droughts, which there was, if you remember, it came out back in November 2013, both consoles, November 2013, they both had a couple of exclusives, and then what happened, basically December, January, and maybe a little into February, there was nothing new to play, and then Titanfall came out in February, I believe, and then Infamous Second Son came out in March of 2014, that is, a couple months after launch, and then it went another long period of time with nothing new. That's where your backwards compatibility comes in, folks. But then as the weeks turn to months, months turn into years, you start getting more games that come out, which means, if nothing else, you've been playing a lot of games throughout the whole time, and even during the quote-unquote droughts, you have backlogs. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, PlayStation puts out a bunch of games in the beginning of the year, and during the, like, you know, June, July, August, if there's nothing out, then what do? You go pick up backlog games from earlier on. Maybe Gravity Rush 2, maybe this, maybe that. Same way Xbox fanboys sit there and talk about, well, I'm not missing out on many games. There's multi-plats that have come out, a couple this year, and I'm still playing games from last holiday. Okay, so my point is, you're filling in your backlog of 8th generation games. Both sides, Xbox and PlayStation, do that, which means you rely less on backwards compatible games. You see what I'm saying? So backwards compatibility is at its most important. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, and I think, for the record, PlayStation 5 should play PlayStation 4 games at launch, though, because at the beginning of the generations when it's most important. So you should have all the games backwards compatible from the previous generation on day one. That's when it's most important. As the years move on, though, backwards compatibility becomes less and less important. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's shown in these, and the reason why I bring it up is because I think it's shown in the software number. People would rather have new games than backwards compatible games. Anyway, let me know what you think about in the comment section about the NPD stuff, or about my little rant about backwards compatibility. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll holla back. Peace.